don't advocate any of our members breaking any laws.
But some do.
Well, you must understand that. Being in a cult like the federal government.
Why'd you call me about this case?
I need your help. Hate groups don't rob banks.
Go, go, go!
There's 6 steps in that book. Recruiting, training, fundraising, assassination.
What's 6?
Large-scale domestic terror attacks.
Come on!
Two-time Oscar nominee Jude Law is in his next project. It is riveting. It is exciting. It's called The Order. It's based on a true story, so I'll let you tell us what it's all about.
So this is a film based on a true story that took place in the 80s in the Pacific Northwest. The FBI uncovered a series of bank robberies that were linked to a white supremacist group who were raising money to build an army and following a 7-stage plan to take over the country. What I saw as a company in my company, but also then as an actor, was the potential to tell a piece of history, a really extraordinary story that few people seem to know about, that had this uncomfortable relevance and timely place in society today, and tell it in such a way that it's it's a pretty thrilling cat and mouse movie, and it reminded me of some of the films I remember growing up with in the 80s and 90s, French Connection from the 70s, films like that. And yeah, so it's got relevance, but it's also, I hope, a thrill to watch.
It's very thrilling to watch. This cat and mouse thriller is between your character and Nicholas Hoult's character, who is just haunting as this guy. It's a terrific performance from both of you. What was it like working alongside him on the opposite spectrums?
Nick is a really good guy, a really nice man, and a terrific actor. And I know him before, but when we embarked on this, it became clear that we weren't really going to spend much time together, because he has his story and his team, and I have my story and my team, and really the two only overlap at the very end. So we were both on our own paths, all obviously in the hands of the same wonderful director and team.
We seek the same goals. In 10 years, we'll have members in the Congress, the Senate. That's how you make change. But progress takes time.
That's your problem. You're running out of time, and you've got nothing to show for it. Nothing. You preach racial economics. We live it. Not gonna be you.
You stand down, Robert.
Or what?
In fact, we were kept apart and didn't actually meet until we meet on camera. So there's a moment in the film, I think about halfway through, maybe a little later, when we meet. And that was actually the first time we'd seen each other in the making of it.
Wow, that's so interesting to hear the process of how these things are made. And also in this just incredible ensemble cast, Jurnee, Smollett, Mark Maron, and alongside both of you with Ty Sheridan, This is just a great ensemble piece. What's it like assembling that cast together?
You know, it's when you know you've got good material, you know you're going to get good actors, but it was important that these people bring their own belief, enthusiasm for it, an opinion, perspective on each of the characters, and they did that. And in tenfold. You know, it's a piece that really provokes opinion and conversation, and each and every one of the cast and all those involved really had a personal reason for getting involved and a personal opinion of what the film means to them.
And this happened about 40 years ago, but really, if you think of it, it's not that long ago. Uncharacteristically timely for what we're going through today. Of course, this story means so much to so many people, and audiences are just going to love it. What do you want people to know after watching this movie or take from it?
What Justin does very well, what the director Justin does very well with this sort of material is he unpacks the people. You know, he doesn't judge, and he doesn't look at it as simply as sort of good and bad. He looks at why people make the decisions they make and what leads them down these different paths. And there are various paths in the film that present themselves. There's the path that my character, Terry Husk, has taken, where he's sort of lost his life to law enforcement and to fight the good fight, but sort of has nothing really personally to show for it other than a sort of beaten body. And then there's the local cop who actually went to school with some of the people in the movement, and again doesn't judge them because he knows that they made these choices because they maybe had, they had no money, they had no community, and were promised something by being in these extremist groups. And then you have someone like Bob Matthews, who Nick Hoult plays, who has great potential and charisma, but has chosen this sort of path of hate. And, it's about the people around us. And the reason it's relevant now, or it's interesting looking back to a story like this, is you look around and there are still those decisions being made today. There are decisions that we make globally and will continue having to make. So it's interesting just to understand why we make those decisions and what we could what decisions we could make in a better way.
We have seen her grow up just from all of these years. We see her on Full House, Friday Night Lights, Lovecraft Country, Emmy nominee, Jurnee Smollett. So thank you for chatting with me. Tell us more about your character in The Order.
Wow. Well, thank you for that introduction, man. Where's everyone else's introduction, man? My role, that was your question? Okay.
Yes, your role.
I play Special Agent Carney in The Order, a character actually that was originally written as a man when the script was sent to me. But yeah, she's one of the only female agents in the bureau, working on this task with Terry Husk to bring down these domestic terrorists who have been robbing banks in order to build a war chest to take arms against the American government.
So that's so interesting that you said that. I did not know that the role was written for a man, and then obviously you've played the role now. What was the process like? Obviously you knocked it out of the park. So what was the process of changing it to you now?
I did a lot of research. I interviewed a lot of former special agents, women who served in the Bureau during that time, during the 80s and 90s. Learned, that women weren't even in this role until in the 70s. Black women, I believe the first black woman was admitted in 1976, I want to say. I mean, dude, blew my mind, So I really approached Carney as a loner, as someone, who's had to work her way up the ranks, being one of the only, being an other, and how that makes her determined to be the best. She has no tolerance for Terry when he veers off course and doesn't follow protocol because she can't, right? And so we built this fun brother-sister camaraderie between Jude's character and mine. I'm a former mentee of his who's risen in the ranks, and he doesn't want to take my orders, but I also want to be the boss because I am the boss, damn it. And so we had a lot of fun.
It's a lot of fun. And what's really sad about this, though, is that this really did not happen that long ago. I mean, 40 years, 45 years, and just the fact that this stuff is likely still happening across the country right now. And it's great to see this on camera and on the screen that we're telling this kind of story. What is that like to get to be part of that?
I think it's the job as an artist, as Nina Simone says, to reflect the times. And so it's important for us to dissect these stories to understand how we got here, where we are, and how far we have to go. It's an honor to be a part of a story where we can create art that is, on one hand, it's a thriller, it's action-packed, but it also has an incredible message to it. And you do leave the theater feeling challenged, feeling uncomfortable, having all these questions. I'm drawn to those kinds of stories that challenge us as the audience.
We've seen him grow up before our eyes. He was in Mud. He was in Ready Player One. He's now in this great, very important film called The Order. So I'm talking with Ty Sheridan. Tell us more about your character in this movie.
Thank you. Yeah, he's a young deputy in a sheriff's department in a small town in Idaho. The movie takes place in the mid-'80s. And it's basically about a group of guys who are white supremacists who spin out of the Aryan Nation, and they start their own group, and they're driven by this doctrine in this book called the Turner Diaries that basically gives them a step-by-step guide on how to start a revolution. And so they're trying to overthrow the government ultimately as their goal. So yeah, it's really, really high stakes in the movie. And then my character joins Jude Law's character, Terry Husk, who's an FBI agent who's really trying to stop these guys. So it's a kind of classic, good guys versus bad guys, but also has a lot of deeper kind of themes that resonate with extremism and family and et cetera.
Like you said, the stakes are super high, especially because this is based on a true story. The Turner Diaries is a real book that people follow and base their experiences on. What's it like getting to tell this kind of story?
Well, it's great. I mean, I think a lot of people were unaware of this story. You know, I was before the project, before I got involved with the project. So I think it's also one of those stories that feels, or like at least the movie feels like it could be made at any point in time and probably be very resonant in whatever time the movie is released. So I think that's an ode to how universal the themes are in the movie, and then it also. What it does really well is, it puts these characters under a magnifying glass and looks at the good and the bad, and not only just like at a surface level of their ideologies, but it gets down within the, kind of complex thinking of these characters and gives the audience an opportunity to really understand these characters, which I think is a great achievement.
Playing this villain in this central role is Nicholas Hoult, who obviously you're familiar with. You were teammates on X-Men, all these X-Men movies, but now you are against each other. There's a huge fight scene that is just so riveting and exhilarating. The audiences are going to love. What was it like now working against him instead of alongside him?
Yeah, it was funny. I mean, Nick and I are really good friends. This is the fourth film that we made together. So it was funny just to be on, opposite teams here. And it was great. We really didn't, we didn't have a lot of scenes to do together, but as you said, there's a big kind of shootout in the movie that brings our two characters together. But yeah, no, it's always great. And it's great to see him in a role like this where he can really kind of show off his talent. I think it's one of the reasons I wanted to work on this film, is how many great people were involved in it. So yeah, just grateful to be a part of it.
Great to hear. And also kind of your role takes on kind of the protege of Jude Law's character. And surely that has to kind of translate from you to him, as well as being kind of a veteran actor and learning from him. What was it like working with him?
Oh, it was one of the most amazing opportunities I've ever had in my career. He's an extreme talent, but I think that goes without needing to be said. He is a very, very, very serious actor. He does a lot of preparation. And is very committed to his craft. So I think for a young actor, it's amazing to see that and learn from that. But he's also a great collaborator. He's trying to make everyone else around him as good as they can possibly be, and I think that's extremely admirable. So yeah, we had a great time working together. I hope we get to do it again in the future.
We'll be watching. Make sure you watch The Order now, though, December 6th in theaters. Thank you so much, Ty.